The other reason is that sociologists are a bit at unease with their key topic of analysis, society. What does it mean, society? It used to be the nation state in sociology. That's the more obvious kind of level to study changes in consumption behavior, but also changes in sport and so on. And it is the work of especially Ulrich Beck, which kind of criticized this exclusive focus on the nation state in sociology and social sciences more general. He said because this globalizing network society, as introduced by Castells and as also kind of embraced by John Urry when he talks about the mobile sociology, the sociology of mobilities. So he said that it's no longer the nation state as the social system that deserves all the attention. We should look at kind of transnational mobilities, networks and flows, etc. So that's, I think, the second main reason why practice theory became so popular, because it offered itself as a different, let's say, level of analysis and a different kind of unit of analysis and policy making when compared to the nation state as the social system that used to be studied in sociology so far as the kind of prime object of study. And then thirdly, I think practice theory are welcomed by many people because they are a bit more reflexive on what they do to reality. So inspired by Bourdieu, when you have read Bourdieu, you know about the reflexive mode of doing research and theory. He wants to connect theories and empirical research in a very kind of unique way, being aware as a researcher, as a theorist, about your impact upon society of your research. So I think these three topics, for me, help explain why everybody is rushing into practice theories nowadays. And if you then look what they actually do, then I would say, first of all, it is this idea of situated practices. It is things that are really happening in reality, on the ground. So you could say it is a kind of an empirical turn. The practice turn is partly a kind of trying to reconnect theory and empirical research in a more direct way. Second, there is in sociology and anthropology a kind of revival, and not in, of course Bruno Latour's work has something to do with it, that there is this interest in the body and material. And that's something that also has a great resonance among social scientists. And I would say for practice theories, especially, there is this criticism about, well, we call it in Wageningen the modelers, the modeling scientist. So I work in an environment with mostly natural scientists, and you only are considered a real scientist if you produce models that can predict things. And I think practice theories, they are a little bit reluctant to go that just only quantitative modeling route to doing research, because they want to make room for kind of more ethnographic, like more kind of qualitative methods used in anthropology in particular. And I recently found a nice book by a German author, Robert Smith. I think it's not yet translated, but since I'm Dutch, I can read German easily. And he said the practice turn, and that's a summary of the things that I had developed here. He said it's an empirical turn, it's a material turn, and it's a praxiographic turn. It's a turn which is reflected in the methods that people use. And I like that summary very much. And for me, it explains a bit why practice theories are becoming more popular in different fields of social science research. So that was my second main argument. Are there urgent questions about this, or should I go to my third and main topic of today? So now I have to look at my watch, and I promise you I will try to do it in half an hour. Otherwise John will stare at me and I will be impressed. But of course, this is the key issue of today. So what do we make of practice theory, first in general, and then in relation to sustainable consumption issues? Well, the most easy way is to map the field by using its actors, its main actors, the sociologists working on it. And I guess that most of the names here are rather familiar to you. I think the only name that maybe you would not have included yourself in this list would be Randall Collins. And that's kind of, I put my name here because I think this is some of the suggestions I would like to discuss with you. If you take notice of the work of Randall Collins, then I think it's definitely true that there is a kind of connection with practice theories. But he's not yet included in most of the discussions, the discourse. He's a little bit outside the discourse, and I want to bring him more into the center. More about these authors in a few minutes, but when we look at the field of sociology of consumption, then you also will recognize many names here. Perhaps you would say my name should be there as well. Sorry for that. I just used my own kind of network to just show to you that the group of people working with practice theories on consumption is growing. It is still very strong oriented in Europe, but that's partly because I have some networks in Asia. There are a few PhDs of me working there. There is, Julia Givant, she did work with me from Brazil, but I think it's a European-based network so far. Especially the UK is very strong. So the Frank Trentman and Alan Ward and Elizabeth Shove, all these people, they are UK-based. But I think what you will see in a few years' time, that this network will become a transnational network itself. So the authors, let's say the classics, the founding fathers, unfortunately there is no mother here included yet. Maybe Saskia Sasse is a little bit, yeah, Shove is coming, yeah, but she's not yet included here, I agree. But most of these men, they feel inspired by the first generation authors that worked in the 70s and the 80s, and they added to that particular emphasis with, for example, Schatzky and Rekvich, Theodor Schatzky and Andreas Rekvich. They elaborated the topics put on the table by Latour in a similar period that Giddens was working, and they more or less argued that he should have taken more from Latour when he formulated his structuration theory. That would have ended up with kind of more emphasis on the material, on the body, on the technology, and on objects. So this is the second generation, I would argue, because they start working and become more popular. Schatzky, I think, he took off somewhere in the 90s, and he's now kind of becoming the new Giddens, I would argue. Randall Collins, I included him in this second generation as well. The main work that is the reason for doing so is from past 2000, is 2004. So he is a latecomer to the field, and his emphasis is very much on the symbolic and cultural aspects of sustainable consumption. So this is just to map out for you a little bit the authors and the emphasis in the field of practice theories.